Welcome to the SBI Podcast, offering CEOs, sales and marketing leaders ideas to make the number.
Hello, SBI Podcast subscribers. My name is Ryan Tognazzini. I'm a principal with SBI, a sales and marketing consulting firm dedicated to helping you make your number. With me today is my buddy Scott Gruher, a partner with SBI. And on today's show, or on this show rather, we discuss sales and marketing best practices for viewers just like you, executives trying to grow their revenues. How you doing today, Scott?
I'm doing awesome. Looking forward to the show.
Yeah, me too. All right, on today's show, we are discussing strategies. Namely, do you have them and are they working? So let's quickly start by defining and submitting our definition of strategy for the audience.
We're going to run through SBI's 6-step revenue growth methodology. What we've found is top producing companies align their strategies to this 6-step process. So the first step is market research, which is understanding market, accounts, buyers, and users. This ensures the strategy is differentiated from the competition in the eyes of the marketplace. Hey, Ryan, why don't you define corporate strategy for our audience?
Yep, so that's the allocation of the company's people, money, and time in pursuit of profitable growth.
Okay. And product strategies launch products and services to the marketplace that solve market problems and are aligned with a corporate strategy.
Yep, and then coming up after that is marketing strategy, which is driving demand into the marketplace for the company's products and services.
Next is sales strategy, which is turning market demand into revenue by selling the company's products and services to target buyers.
And finally, you've got talent strategy, which is building a team capable of defining and executing each of those functional strategies.
These strategies are linked together like a chain. It's significant in that the core functions of your business need to be tied together like a chain in order to operate at best-in-class levels, Ryan. When the links break, things start to unravel. We've found top companies with aligned strategies have predictable outcomes. This means they are operating at a level 5 on our revenue growth maturity model.
Yeah, so let's spend a minute on this one. So companies operating at a level 5 are predictable, meaning they're aligned across all these 6 strategic areas?
Yeah, correct. Our research found that only 9% of companies fall in this category, though, Ryan.
Okay, so our viewers here are likely looking at this or thinking about this and plotting themselves against the maturity model. So why should they care? Like, what's the implication of doing this?
Yeah, so the implication is you want to look out at your market and your peers and understand where you are vis-a-vis them, right? So if you're level 1, are your peers at a level 2, a level 3? This is important because you have a decision to make. Do you want to play catch up and say, all right, Ryan, you're a level 2, I'm at a 1, I'm going to try to catch up to you? Or do I want to leapfrog you? And what we're providing here is a roadmap to leapfrog your competition and go to level 5, where only 9% of the market is.
Awesome. So let's assume that those watching have not put themselves in the 9% of companies who are level 5s. So talk a little bit about the other 91% of the companies in our research.
Yeah, this can vary from everything from level 1 to chaos to level 4 managed. In chaos, maybe the CEO has a corporate strategy developed, but nobody else does. The world of chaos is very unpredictable. Results can vary and nobody knows how or why. As you move up the stack to level 4 managed, you'll see functional strategies start to exist and get implemented. Because of this, results and profits increase along the way.
So what are some signs that I might be somewhere in levels 1 through 4?
Let's start with level 1 and work from there. If you're in level 1, you're in chaos. You don't even have a function. You don't even have a functional strategy. The implications of this are significant. How's that for some drama? Signs you're in this category might include flavor of the week tactical initiatives to make up the quota shortfalls, cost and budget overruns, so you're wasting money on things that don't really generate results, inaccurate sales forecasts, right? So at the end of the quarter, you're left praying, saying, God, I hope I'm going to hit this quarter, and if I don't, am I going to have a job? Friction between functional departments like product, sales, and marketing. So you and I are in a conference, you and yelling at each other once a week, right? Because we have no idea what's going to happen, and we're scared for our jobs.
Yeah, that last one's a big one. I mean, sales says the leads stink. Marketing says the reps never respond to them. In the end, you've got people and time and money, and they're being spent, and the results aren't coming.
Yeah, the kicker here is the impact on the cost to acquire a customer and customer lifetime value.
Yeah, so when you're in chaos, you end up throwing people, time, and money at every opportunity in order to win the customer. As a result, the cost to bring that customer in skyrockets. So, maybe you're on 8-legged or 12-legged sales calls, just so that, one person can say one thing in every single meeting in order to get that customer brought in. So this metric that I'm talking about here is called customer acquisition cost, or CAC. Mm-hmm. And if you aren't tracking CAC today, you definitely should be.
Yeah. So a simple way to calculate CAC is you take all the sales and marketing expenses that are being allocated against acquiring new customers, and you divide that by the number of new customers you've acquired, right? So for example, if you spend $10 million in sales and marketing to acquire new customers, and you signed 100 new accounts, your customer acquisition cost is $100,000. As a gut check, compare that to your average deal size for a new customer. If it is 50 grand, watch out. You're spending 2x to acquire a customer. That's not a good ratio.
Yeah, and what we found in level 1 companies is that their CAC, and with their CAC is the impact it has on the bottom line. So, in this example, if a company's spending 35% of their revenues on, product and sales and marketing, a little bit of improvement there can move margins up, 10% just by reducing CAC by 30%.
Yeah, our viewers might be chuckling because they know about the chaos and the amount of craziness that happens in their company to bring in a new customer. And misaligned or missing strategies are a big reason for this. The crazy thing is how much it impacts the bottom line.
Yeah, the term loss leader all of a sudden starts to become the norm. And all of a sudden EBITDA targets are getting missed and executives aren't getting a bonus this year because we're missing the number.
Or they're just not invited back to work at all, which is even worse.
Yeah, exactly. So the impact of misaligned or missing strategies is real here. And if you're in level 1, you should start by developing strategies by functions. Get your corporate strategy from your CEO, if he or she has one, and determine if your functional group is actually aligned to the goals of the company. So when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about moving from level 1 to level 2, which is define. So stay tuned.
Each day, you receive hundreds of emails, tons of text messages, countless telephone calls, and sit in too many meetings. How do you find ideas to make the number with all this noise? The SBI blog filters all this nonsense for you and presents only first-rate ideas to make the number. Simplify your life. Subscribe to one blog and read the best content. Go to salesbenchmarkindex.com and subscribe today.
Welcome back. We're talking about strategic alignment and the impact this can have on your organization. In our last segment, we talked about being a level 1 company and the impact chaos can have on acquiring customers and your bottom line. Let's shift our attention to level 2 companies. Ryan, what's the difference between level 1 chaos and level 2 defined?
Yeah, here's a quick way to test and see if you're in level 2. Level 2 is really, we've got strategies, but they're sitting on the shelf. So, if you have regular executive team meetings to review results, does anyone ever bring up anything from the strategies they created during your annual planning meeting?
Yeah, this is an easy one to spot. This is like me with my health strategy, right? I bought a gym membership for Christmas, and I never went to the gym. So I had a strategy, just didn't execute it.
Yeah, sounds like you're speaking from experience. So what's the impact really of being in level 2?
A couple things. First of all, you get a slight improvement in customer acquisition cost from level 1 companies, but only about 3%. It means you're likely still overspending to bring new customers because you have to do things that level 5 companies don't. This could be things like adding headcount, coming up with compensation spiffs, spending more on marketing to try to generate more leads, etc.
Yeah, and we've also found that companies in level 2 tend to have lower customer lifetime value.
Yeah, this is something that we should introduce to our audience. So customer lifetime value is simply the average total spend of a customer over their lifetime with your company. So if the average customer in your organization spends $100,000 a year for 5 years, your CLTV is $500,000.
Yeah, and we found companies in level 2 make little improvement in CLTV from level 1 companies. It's about a 2% improvement. So, the importance of this is being able to bring in customers. You're going to have higher customer lifetime value, which ultimately create things like shareholder value for your organization. But even having these strategies, if they're sitting on the shelf, it's not doing much in terms of impacting the bottom line.
Right. Customers who spend more over their lifetime become more profitable for the company. They don't have to sign as many new customers, don't have to exert as much energy to keep those. They already have. And profits improve. Ultimately, this drives up things like stock price, and executives are happy because their bonuses start to get large.
Yeah, they actually get a bonus. So, all right, let's dive into level 3, which is implemented. So in this level, you've now defined your strategies from step 2, or as in step 2, and the functional leaders here are executing their strategies, but they're doing them in silos.
Yeah, let's use an example. So say the CEO has stated that you need to grow EBITDA, which is earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. Am I right, Alex?
Not in the form of a question.
By 4% this year. The product leader stands up and says he's going to spend $3 million on a new piece of software to build a product that's not coming to the market this year. Then your marketing leader stands up and says he wants to be a platinum sponsor at an upcoming event, but doesn't have a way to measure the ROI of that spend on that event. The sales leader gets up and says his team will crush the bookings goal, but discounts are all-time high.
Yeah, so everybody appears to be working towards a goal in their own group or on their own team, but they're not all aligned to this 4% EBITDA target that the CEO has set forth.
Yeah, if I'm the CEO, what's the value of spending $3 million for a product we can't even sell this year? And the marketing leader wants to spend money on something that he has no way of showing me an ROI on. The sales guy is discounting like crazy and eroding margins to hit his bookings goal. Ugh, I mean, I can kiss my EBITDA bonus goodbye.
Yeah, and everyone here is so focused on hitting their goals, which they're trying to do the right thing. Mm-hmm. They're failing to see what the company is trying to do. And so we keep talking about CAC and CLTV. And companies in level 3 are able to typically improve CAC and CLTV by about 8% from those in level 1. So again, some improvement, but we're still a long way from level 5 companies who typically generate 26% better CAC and 30% LTV from those in level 1.
Yeah, so if you're in level 3, we'd recommend you use your next executive meeting to discuss strategic alignment and focus on how you can get aligned across functions, because you're gonna need a big lift from that.
Yeah, that's a great point. So if you got a bonus at risk, someone needs to step in with an idea on how to improve things before it gets to be too late. And a lot of times there's a lot of looking around or looking at the floor when the CEO starts asking for answers. So suggest you take a peek at the Make Your Number workbook here before heading into your next meeting. And think you'll find some great questions in here that may help the group understand why they're behind the 8 ball.
Okay, we're gonna take a short break. When we come back, we'll talk about level 4 companies, as well as what you can do if you find yourself in that 91% of companies who aren't operating at level 5. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Do you have too many things to do and not enough time to do them? Is finding time to learn best practices almost impossible? The SBI Podcast is your solution. Turn time spent exercising, commuting, and traveling into productive learning time with a subscription to the SBI Podcast. SBI Podcast listeners get unique insight into real-world sales and marketing issues through interviews with your industry peers every week. Find us on iTunes by searching for Sales Benchmark Index Podcast and subscribe today.
Welcome back to the show. In our last segment, we discussed the implications of customer acquisition cost and customer lifetime value and bonuses if you're in a level 2 or 3 organization. Let's jump into level 4, managed, right? In this case, you've got functional strategies that are defined, aligned, and implemented internally. Congratulations, you've achieved internal strategic alignment. Everyone knows the plan, how to execute, and can rely on their peers to help them achieve their goals. This is difficult to get to. So if you're here, it's a good spot to be.
Yeah. So, and companies here operating at level 4, we talked about improvement over level 1s. Here they get a 16% improvement on customer acquisition cost and a 13% on customer lifetime value. So not only are they more efficient at bringing a new customer in for less money, they're generating more long-term shareholder value by increasing the value of the actual customers that they are bringing in.
So it sounds like, Ryan, this is where you want to be. Is that the case?
Yeah, almost. The missing component between level 4 and level 5 is the difference between internal and external market alignment. So the functional teams here are aligned internally, so they're doing all of the right things as a group, but they've forgotten about the markets and the customers.
Okay. So while the team is functioning well, there's a risk they may be headed down the wrong path. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so if you're doing the right things, you may be doing them right, but you may not be doing them against the wrong markets or the wrong buyers of those products that you're actually producing.
So no outward in view. That seems like a big problem. So how would we fix this if we're in level 4?
Yeah, I mean, the good news is that companies in this category, they're typically doing things like meeting regularly to review their KPIs. They're looking at their performance. Because they're aligned, they can have good, meaningful dialogue. And in doing this, they can identify some areas that aren't working or are beginning to decline. And, strategy is just as important to think about the things that you're not going to do versus the things that you are going to do. And because these organizations in level 4 are functioning well, they can usually course correct and make some of the necessary changes that companies in levels 1 through 3 often cannot.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, you should be using your exec meetings to ask tough questions and then look externally to see if we missed anything. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, so look, we're big believers that everything starts with the customer, right? I mean, the reason that you exist is to sell these products and solutions to your customer. So why wouldn't you start by, understanding their perspective and understanding the perspectives of the market? So if they've somehow gotten overlooked in your organization, I mean, get focused on them right away. And, you can start to identify the gaps that you might have.
Yeah, to do this, I'd steer our viewers back to the Make Your Number workbook, Section 1, Market Research. This has the key questions you need to answer to determine what you've missed. Okay, let's finish up by helping the audience determine what to do with all the information from today's show. First off, what do you do if you're watching and you're in the 91% of companies in levels 1 through 4?
Yeah, so I'd start by doing 3 things. I mean, first, I'd start by trying to calculate your customer acquisition cost, and we talked a little bit about the importance of that. Secondly, I would calculate my customer lifetime value and understand, what are my customers spending on average over the lifetime of being a customer of mine. And then third, I'd start to plot yourself on the revenue maturity model, the revenue growth maturity model, and understand where you sit as an organization.
Good idea. It helps to quantify the size of the prize, or here the size of the miss. If you're hemorrhaging cash to bring in new customers, or you can't seem to keep them, assigning a value to this is the key to creating a meaningful discussion with all your functional peers, and then you can discuss how we're going to fix it.
Yeah, totally. So, I mean, simply stating the problem, sometimes it's not enough to get the dialogue going. So coming in and saying, hey, we're spending $100,000 to acquire a new customer, and they're only ever spending $50,000 with us, and being able to back that up with empirical evidence and data, that's something that's going to get everybody's attention by bringing in proof versus just bringing in sort of, anecdotes.
Yeah. So let's say I do this and I plot my company at a level 2, all right? Whose fault is it if our company is stuck between levels 1 and 4?
I mean, look, ultimately there's typically one leader in the organization, and that's the CEO. But sometimes it's not, only the CEO who's to blame here. I mean, sometimes it's just not having awareness that the problem is even existing. I mean, a lot of companies aren't calculating things like customer acquisition cost and lifetime value and understanding how that drives things to the bottom line. So everyone is busy, they're working hard, they think they're doing the right things, but nobody's stopping and taking a step back and saying, hey, something's wrong here until it's much too late. And so, or maybe they're not sure how to diagnose what the problem is.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody wakes up and goes to work every day and has the intentions of doing a bad job. Well, have you seen the movie Office Space? Hey, Peter, I think he was working 15 minutes a week, so maybe not everyone, but...
Yeah. So, I mean, here's a thought for our audience, is to take an objective view of what's going on in your business and ask yourself the tough questions. Whether you're the marketing leader, the product leader, the sales leader, the HR leader, whatever. But start to try and understand, where are you spending money and where are you not getting results? Mm-hmm. And once you have some of these answers, start to address it in dialogue with your peers. And you're all in the boat together. And the guy who comes up with the solutions that solves the problems is usually the one on the sharp career trajectory. So, people who are problem solvers inside businesses typically get promotions.
Great show today, Ryan. Okay, that's all the time we have for today's show. If you'd like to learn more about how performance is impacting things like customer acquisition cost, lifetime value, or where your organization is on the revenue growth maturity model, head to www.salesbenchmarkindex.com/2016/report. That is a great first step towards getting your peers strategically aligned. Until next time, we wish you the best of luck as you try to make your number. So long.
This has been the SBI Podcast. For more information on SBI services, case studies, the SBI team and how we work, or to subscribe to our other offerings, please visit us at salesbenchmarkindex.com.